Do you guys remember when Tim Sherwood said that Benjamin Sesko should never wear a Man United shirt again? Not even like just saying Sesko didn't have a good first half or any kind of normal level of constructive criticism, like maybe Sesko could have been more involved in a game. At halftime versus Burnley, Tim Sherwood said that Benjamin Sesko should never wear a Manchester United shirt again. Since those comments, he's got 7 goals in 303 minutes, which is 43 goals per minute. Tim Sherwood is looking stupider and stupider by the day. But Tim Sherwood is not the only pundit that's been criticising Sesko. Now, Sesko had a slow start. He got 2 goals when Ruben Amorim was here, and he's only really started firing since Ruben Amorim has been sacked. And Sesko was a 22-year-old that was adapting to a new league, playing for a team that wasn't creating a lot. You know, being a striker for Man United, which is one of the hardest jobs in football, one of the highest pressure jobs in football, with a big price tag and a lot of pressure over him. A role in which Rasmus Højlund only got 4 league goals last season. Sesko's already got twice the amount of league goals this season as Højlund got the whole of last season. Benjamin Sesko, the slander he got for a 22-year-old is crazy. You can say, not convinced so far. You can say, rough start, need a bit more. But to say that he should never wear the shirt again was absolutely ridiculous. And as Sully said here, Benjamin Sesko is starting to become that consistent and clinical killer number 9, which United have been crying out for the last decade. He's not just some young Slovenian kid who's getting used to the league. He's proving he's a game changer, poetic execution. Maybe these pundits should have given Sesko time. Because if you look at Sesko's goals, winner, winner, equaliser in the last 3 games, influence. A winner, and an influence. Like he's scoring winning goals. He's rescued us 10 points under Carrick. So let's talk about what these pundits have had to say on Sesko and why Sesko's silencing them and what Sesko's been doing behind the scenes that you might not know. So Tim Sherwood has definitely been the most outspoken critic. He said he's not good enough to play for Manchester United, and after a poor run of form, Sherwood doubled down and said it's taken 6 months to turn up. I said he should have come off, never to wear the shirt for Manchester United again. Not he's been poor. He's a young kid. He's had a poor start. We need to see a bit more from him. He just went, no, he should never wear the shirt again. He completely wrote off a 22-year-old kid that showed so much promise at the RB clubs, that had showed signs at Manchester United. He completely wrote him off. Where's patience? He suggested United had better options. He said, Sesko had struggled. I think Sesko had struggled to begin with. And he even questioned whether he should start games. He was among players nowhere near good enough to play regularly, according to Sherwood. But the worst thing he said is Sesko should never wear the shirt again. I think to even make these comments about a young player that's playing striker for Man United in his first season from a new league, from a new country, is just ridiculous in the first place. To say he should never wear the shirt again. I mean, he looks like an idiot. But it's not just Sherwood. Alan Pardew and TalkSport, they used to call Sesko a liability, said that he lacked the threat expected from a top striker. He didn't excite or threaten opponents. Don't get me wrong, I think the Tottenham game, Sesko was poor. I think we've had 1 or 2 games where Sesko hasn't really influenced the game. I'm talking about the Tottenham game under Amorim, when he came off injured after coming on. Don't get me wrong, but do people not realise this is a young kid? He's 22. He's 22. I think he's been better than Gyökeres, who's in his prime. Gyökeres has more goals because he takes more penalties and he plays in more competitions and plays many more games. Do you know what I mean? But I think Sesko has been really good, actually, compared to a lot of Prem strikers. It's difficult. Gary Neville again. He's been somewhat critical of Sesko, not to a level of other pundits, but he's called Sesko awkward, or sometimes he's been critical, Sesko's giving the ball away when he's on commentary, and he seems to be a bit more negative on Sesko than maybe he would with other strikers. He's less extreme, but he's questioned Sesko, he's questioned his performances. It's more constructive criticism, but I still think at times that Gary Neville is quite quick to pick on Benjamin Sesko, calling him awkward, calling him this. I mean, Sesko has been in great form lately. Roy Keane wouldn't even praise him. He compared Sesko scoring goals to celebrating a Ryanair flight on time, saying that Sesko's doing the bare minimum. Sesko's doing more than the bare minimum. You look at the goals Sesko's scoring, Højlund doesn't score them. Does Højlund score that brilliant goal versus West Ham? No. Does Højlund score that goal versus Fulham? No, Højlund panics. Does Højlund score that goal versus Everton to make that run? No. Does Højlund score that goal today, that header? Absolutely not. Højlund be wrestling players in the box. To say that he's doing his job, yes, he's a striker, his goal is to do jobs, but that is his goal, but he's not getting chance after chance after chance after chance. He's got a couple of chances. He takes it. He takes it well. He's being influential. We've had Højlund. We've had Xerxes. We've had Weghorst. We've had many strikers that haven't been able to score goals, and Sesko's starting to do that. Jamie Jackson, a Manchester United journalist, even suggested that Højlund had shown more potential than Sesko. I think we've seen more from Sesko's first season than we had from Højlund's first season. I think Højlund, he's getting okay numbers in the Serie A, but, I've watched a little bit of Højlund in Napoli, and he's not better than Sesko. Sesko is better than Højlund. Look, Sesko is in a run of form. There's going to be a period where he definitely drops off and goes a few games without a goal. Don't get me wrong, but this run of form shows us what Sesko is capable of, and this run of form shows us what Sesko can do. This run of form is good. Benjamin Sesko has scored 7 goals in his last 8 appearances. No player has scored more non-penalty goals in the Premier League since the turn of the year. Non-penalty goals per minute since the turn of the year, no one has done more than Sesko in the league. His numbers are absolutely brilliant. The goals he's scoring, they're not stat padding. He's not Victor Gyökeres stat padding against relegation fodder. He's scoring goals that are winning games, that are changing games, that we're 1-0 or 1-0 down. He's getting us back into games. He's scoring those all-important goals. He's won 10 points in the last 4 games. Nuts. So let's talk about Sesko. Let's talk about him as a player. How is he silencing pundits? Because, I think he's got ability, but I think a big part of it is due to his mentality. It's been said in the past that RB Leipzig and later clubs, the coaches used to highlight how seriously Sesko takes improvement. He would arrive early for training. He'd stay behind after training sessions. He'd work on his finishing. He'd work on his physical conditioning. Former staff described him as someone that wants constant repetition to sharpen his games. He'd practice shooting drills. He'd do extra work. One thing we know about Sesko is he's hiring extra coaches. He's doing extra work. He's putting the effort in. We know that he could have moved to the Premier League a year earlier, but he fought for his development. It's better to have another year at Leipzig. He could have taken big money offer from Arsenal, moved a year earlier, but he just fought for his development. 1 more year in Germany. I'm not quite ready for that Prem step. He prioritised his development over moving to a big club, which a lot of players aren't smart enough to do. They rush at the first big club that comes on them. Look at all the young players joining Chelsea. If they really thought about the development, they wouldn't join Chelsea. Reports have come out that he reads books and studies performances. Reports from Austria and Germany noted stuff like this. That Sesko reads regularly, including high-performance material. He shows interest in psychology and self-development, treats football as a craft, not to master, not just talent. He's thoughtful, he's focused, but he's reading books on how can I improve my mindset? How can I improve my mentality? He's not online on social media. He's not posing, trying to look all fashion. He's reading books on how to improve. He's working hard in training. He's doing extra work. When he's scoring goals and he's still on the bench, he's not complaining that Michael Carrick's given him 15 minutes, 20 minutes here. Garnacho was complaining when he was on the bench. Sesko doesn't complain once. Garnacho was on the bench because he was crap. Sesko's playing well when on the bench. He doesn't complain. He gets on with it. And unlike many young stars in football who are obsessed with social media, being a celebrity, being flashy, he's got no online drama, very few flashy posts. He focuses on being a footballer over a celebrity. That's what he focuses on. He's got a low presence online. He's not interested in reading what people say about him online. He probably doesn't even know what Tim Sherwood said about him. He's that unbothered. He is someone that is called by teammates quiet, but mature for his age. Someone that's not seen as an attention seeker, someone that's emotionally controlled. He doesn't try and be a clown. He doesn't try and win over the dressing room. He's been described as a head-down, work-hard person. And I think we're seeing that. A lot of media on him, a rough start, a lot of noise, a lot of horrible things said about Sesko. He's put his head down and he showed this is why Man United spent 70 million on him. Given his size, his style, his strength, he also puts a lot of work into gym sessions, rehab sessions, conditioning work outside the team. And Sesko's been described as a player that has the desire to be a dominant Premier League striker, according to reports. And I'm happy with what I'm seeing from Sesko. He's young, he's raw, he's going to have inconsistent patches, but we can see that there's a player there. Thank you for watching. Bye.